Up next on Live It Up is Susan Eisner. And the thing that I love most about Susan is that she's dedicated to helping people and their wellness. She owns a company called Visionary Health Solutions. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is correct. Visionary Health Solutions.
You got it.
You know, you have so many letters after your names. I was a little intimidated. I was going to get a little confused at the moment. But tell me all the different letters and what they stand for.
I have a master's in public health, a specialty in community health education. I'm a credentialed alcoholism and substance abuse counselor. And I have certifications in corporate stress management, in anger management. I'm also something called a journey practitioner, which is a mind-body technique that I use in my work.
It's excellent. Why did you choose this path?
Well, I had a calling, I feel like. I was in college one day, and a female student walked into my dorm room. I never knew who she was. And she said to me, people tell me that you're good to talk to. I have a problem I need to talk about. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went and spoke to her. And then when I was in graduate school, part of my training was to take a counseling course. And while we would do role plays, people would say to me, do you do this for a living? I was like, no, very young. And then I took a stress management class in grad school, and that kind of put me on this path.
Wow. And it just kind of found you. Your profession found you, I would say.
Yeah, and I bring a lot of interest in science and biology and health, and I've struggled through many of the issues I teach about and coach about. And I've worked in the medical profession, so my audience tends to be physicians, nurses, health professionals, health personnel overall.
That's what I was going to ask you. Who is your target audience? Who do you feel like you can best, almost lay your hands on, if you will, and help?
Well, it's been the medical profession primarily. I have other clients as well in other types of companies. I have a private practice, but I know the mind of physicians, of nurses. I never became one myself, but I could have just as easily. I have a lot of the similar personality traits, and I've been working in that field for 30-something years, so I really know them very well, and they need the help themselves.
That's what I was going to ask you. What about their profession makes you feel like they really need that extra support?
Because they take terrible care of themselves. They are very good at taking care of everyone else. They also tend to live up in their head a lot. They're not into their emotions and their body, and the work that we do really helps people get down to the root of what their problems are by looking on an emotional level.
And how do you help them do that? What steps do you take? What is your practice based around?
Primarily, well, actually we do two main things. One is wellness seminars, and they cover the topics like anger management, stress management, addictions management, disruptive behavior, and how to communicate these types of emotions in a healthier way. And also we do regular corporate coaching for executives or anybody that works in the facility, and anger management one-to-one coaching.
And how have you felt in the past when you've seen a success, when you've really been able to help make a difference for somebody?
Well, one of the things that we do is we use a technique called the guided imagery or a guided introspection technique. And I'll do short little versions of that in a seminar, or a coaching session is a long version of it. And what it does is it helps people to get underneath to what's really going on. So I did one, for an example, a success case. A secretary was in my audience of a group of physicians, and we were talking about what your beliefs are about communicating, because our beliefs and our emotions really drive our behaviors. So she came up to me crying at the end of the session, at the end of the class, and she said to me, oh my God, she said, I grew up with children should be seen and not heard, and I still can't speak up to my parents to this day, and I talk to them and I get stomach aches and I get upset. So she became a coaching client, and her stomach aches started to go away, and we talked about ways to begin to communicate better, but the point was to get underneath to those fears, those insecurities, those beliefs of I'm not supposed to speak up, and the emotion that would get stuck in her stomach literally when she would try to do it. So it's going beyond just saying to somebody, take a stress management class, you'll get better. And physicians in particular don't believe in taking care of themselves, so the seminars focus on that.
I like that. And that's what you do. That's your special, unique gift to the world.
Right, to get to what's really going on inside you so that you can then make healthier decisions, and also to feel your emotions.
And what tip, before we wrap up, what tip would you give somebody if they were just thinking like, oh, you know what, maybe I want to talk to her, but I'm a little afraid? Would you just say make that call? Like, what would you say to them?
I would say give me a call. And I also have on my website an example of a video. It's very short, and I'll tell you real quick what it is. Okay. If you get angry, for example, and you lash out at somebody, it's helpful over time to go quietly sit somewhere by yourself and go back into that situation, just close your eyes, kind of revision it, and say, what was I feeling under that anger? And lots of times there'll be hurt or disappointment or helplessness. So you can go back to the person, and then you're going to sit there and you're going to feel that. And then maybe the next day you'll go back to the person and say, you know, I'm sorry for the way I lashed out, but the truth was, under my anger, I was feeling very hurt by what you said to me, and I'd appreciate if we could talk about this a little bit.
That's an excellent tip, because sometimes I lose my cool. Like, I'm very passionate about life, and everybody thinks I'm like this happy-go-lucky woman, and I usually am. But there are times where I'm at, like, sometimes at a store that I feel like there's a misjustice or whatever.
Absolutely.
I'm like that crusader for the underdog all the time. So it's good to know, because at the times where I have made a complete fool out of myself with anger, right, I really need to look deeper inside. So thank you so much. Absolutely. And for these great tips and more, you can check out Susan Eisner at liveituptvshow.com.